NFL legend calls out insufferable Winter Olympics skier Eileen Gu. Chinese-American Winter Olympics star Eileen Gu is under fire once again, but this time it's an NFL legend calling out the successful women's skier. Former NFL quarterback Boomer Esiason has become the latest critic of the Milan Cortina Games gold medalist after going on a viral rant Tuesday. The One radio host questioned Gu for her insufferable behavior throughout the Olympics. Eileen Gu controversially decided to represent China instead of the United States after a reported hefty payday. However, her Olympic interviews also rubbed American fans the wrong way throughout the Milan Cortina Games. Meanwhile, Esiason's questionable remarks come after he surprisingly called Gu an attractive woman, before bashing her for some of her other qualities. "She's a very attractive woman and she's extremely bright. She went to Stanford," Esiason said on the One airwaves recently. "But if you listen to her post-participation interviews, she's insufferable." Esiason hasn't been the only vocal critic of Eileen Gu's though in recent weeks. Former NBA star Enes Kanter bashed the Winter Olympics star for choosing China over the US and even went as far as to call her a traitor. Regardless of fans' thoughts on the young skier's choice of country, Gu certainly dazzled the Milan Cortina Games with her incredible talent. The 22-year-old is fully expecting to be in the mix once again when the 2030 Olympic Games take place in the French Alps. When the slopes collide with the gridiron, the Eileen Gu controversy and an NFL legend's rant. At the intersection of elite athletic achievement and heated cultural debate, a moment unfolded in early 2026 that captured global attention and ignited a firestorm of conversation far beyond the snow-covered slopes of the Winter Olympics. Eileen Gu, the American-born freestyle skiing phenom representing China at the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, had already established herself as one of the most remarkable athletes in her sport. A multiple medal champion, Stanford-educated, media-savvy, and internationally celebrated, Gu embodies a new kind of global sports figure, one whose success and identity transcend traditional national boundaries. Yet in the midst of her Olympic run, she became the subject of a highly controversial and widely criticized comment by retired NFL star Boomer Esiason, who described her as very attractive and extremely bright, but insufferable in her interviews, remarks that quickly went viral and sparked intense debate. What at first sounded like an offhand media rant morphed into a cultural moment that touches on gender, nationality, media perception, and evolving conceptions of what it means to be a modern athlete. Eileen Gu, the sport, the star, the symbol. Before examining the confrontation itself, it helps to understand who Eileen Gu is, not just as an athlete, but as a cultural symbol. Born in San Francisco in 2003, Gu began skiing as a child and rapidly ascended to elite levels of freestyle competition. After competing for the United States early in her career, she switched allegiance to China in 2019, citing a desire to inspire young athletes there, particularly girls, and to celebrate her dual heritage. At the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics, she added to her already impressive record by winning multiple medals across freeski disciplines, including gold in halfpipe and silver in both slopestyle and big air, bringing her total Olympic medal count to 6 and cementing her status as the most decorated freestyle skier in Olympic history. Her life and career blur traditional categories. She is an elite athlete competing at the highest level. She is a Stanford University student, a scholar beyond the slopes. She is a fashion and media personality, part of the runway and magazine culture as well as winter sports. She is a dual heritage figure, simultaneously American and Chinese by background and global in presence. Gu's accomplishments have made her a celebrated figure across continents and a lightning rod for debate in others. Boomer Esiason's insufferable comment, spark or flashpoint. Enter Boomer Esiason, former NFL MVP and radio personality, who recently offered a remark during a broadcast that lit social media ablaze. On his show, Esiason referred to Gu as very attractive and extremely bright, but followed up with a critique. If one listened to her Olympics interviews, he said, she came across as insufferable and hard to listen to. In that moment, a few simple words became much more than commentary. It revealed generational tensions between an iconic athlete from the 1980s-90s, Asian, and a new age competitor in a completely different sport. It revealed a cultural gap between how athletes of different eras express confidence, personality, and identity. It sparked backlash, with many fans rejecting the characterization as unfair, sexist, or rooted in discomfort with a confident young woman speaking her truth. Critics pointed out that Gu was not simply a figure on the frozen slopes, but a thoughtful and articulate personality who handled media with poise, not insufferable at all, but emblematic of a new generation unafraid to express nuanced perspectives under global scrutiny. Some responses were sharp enough to flip the critique back on Asian, with social media users reminding followers that confidence and articulate self-expression in women aren't flaws, and that labeling someone insufferable often reflects more on the critic than the criticized. Why this matters: national identity and the Olympics. The context around this exchange is as important as the words themselves. Gu's choice to represent China rather than the US has been controversial in some American circles, fueling discussions around national loyalty, identity, and geopolitics. Her success, beauty, intelligence, and global influence have made her a target for criticism, sometimes harsh, sometimes derisive, beyond sports discourse. Asian's comments, which included remarks about her nationality and the motivations behind her Olympic allegiance, tapped into that broader cultural tension. They weren't merely about style of interview delivery. They reflected a deeper discomfort in some quarters about the global mobility of elite talent and what it means when an American-born athlete becomes a symbol for another nation. This controversy plays out against a larger backdrop: the Olympics as a global stage where national narratives intersect with individual ambition. Questions about why athletes choose the countries they compete for. The enduring power of sports as a venue for debates about identity, pride, and sovereignty. The gender dimension. Confident women in the spotlight. One of the most discussed aspects of the backlash to Asian's comments is the gender dynamic, particularly whether a woman who communicates with confidence is unfairly labeled with dismissive terms. Many fans and social media users argued that Gu's articulate, composed media interviews, which included reflections on her heritage, her athletic journey, and what sport means to her, were not insufferable, but indicative of emotional intelligence and self-possession. Some suggested that the term insufferable often gets thrown at women who aren't meek or self-effacing, a pattern that has been observed across professional sports and media.